I got to step in for a second. I love this. So obviously you've moved into using your intuitive gifts, and we'll talk a little bit about that kind of thing that you do now. I have the same thing where I've been coaching music for 13 plus years now. Always an empath, always an intuitive. And for probably about 10 years of that, I would always feel things with my students, but I wouldn't mention anything because I thought it was intrusive. But I started to notice is if I didn't say something and we'd go through the session, they'd leave, they'd come back, almost like, I don't want to say, I remember they would leave and I'd almost feel like I missed the mark on something. There was always this feeling of like, probably should have said something, even though it would have been inappropriate. Not inappropriate, but maybe I thought it was going to be inappropriate.
Right.
What I do now is if someone comes in and I notice their energy right away, I'll take one moment to try to make sure I'm not going into an area that's maybe inappropriate or insensitive. Yeah, because we're doing music. It's off. I think if I was doing this because now I do some spiritual coaching, and in that place, it's expected. That's where it's expected. In a music session, it's like, why is that coming up? But in music, you're using energy. That soulful energy is always manifesting and coming through.
Well, if you're sad and you're supposed to be playing an upbeat pace, that sadness is going to make the piece melancholy. It doesn't matter what you're doing. That emotional strain that's inside of you is going to come out. This is the voice you are giving your emotion at that time because you're not willing to say whatever the words are at that moment, right? Maybe you're saying it outside of the music session, but inside the music session, you're not talking about how you're feeling. The music is telling how you're feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said something earlier about you just go with whatever now. Like you just go with it. So what happens is I'll get the message or feeling and I'll say it. That's my first check to proceed. So I go, right, I'll say, I'm feeling this. Is this going on? Depending on how they react, sometimes it's like, nothing's wrong, but I can still sense it. It actually heightens. It almost like grows and I go, oh God, this is really deep. So then I'll leave it though, because now I've already given that check. I've already said, hey, I'm here in your space if you want to. And then usually it comes out. Like 90% of the time, it'll eventually start coming out. Tears will happen or this is going on or whatever, right? Or how did you know that? Or things like that. Whereas before, I would think that I was overstepping. And then I would think if I overstep, I might lose that student and they'll never come back and they'll think I'm a terror. But I had to let go of that because...
They'll feel seen.
Yeah, I had to let go of... I was like, I would much rather that be a possibility, but I allowed them to be felt or seen, or there was something that needed to come out. And if that means that this is the last day we work together, that's what it means. I had to come to that consensus. And once I did that, everything just felt better. I never get that feeling anymore.